pottery peeps. So today I'm going to show you how to make, I don't know if this will show up, how to make your own rollers, your own tools. So I have been going through and organizing the studio, and what got me thinking of this is I found this platter that I had carved. I was smart enough to make a pattern. I had carved it, oh God, decades ago. And it's like, I can't use it because, you know, it's broken, it's cracked, and so forth like that. But there was a lot of work that went into this fish. And it got me thinking, some of the work that we do, we want to make like our own rollers. This is still drying. But, so I pressed clay into it, and I got this great impression. And so next week we'll make something out of this. Hopefully I'll have it this by then. We'll see. But I got to thinking, money's tight for all of us, right? Especially right now. I can actually, a lot of you know I was in a car accident last year that, in fact, my collarbone will be out for the rest of my life. I got a dislocated collarbone. And it tore up my shoulder because my collarbone didn't break. Rotator cuff tear, bicep tear, had to have surgery. And I also have, I had a lot of other things. I had a pretty major concussion, even though I didn't hit my head. Just the force of being jerked, you know, or being hit. And I have this tinnitus in my head, and it sounds like high-pitched swarm of mosquitoes, and it never goes away. And it's one of those things, I guess, there's no cure for it. You just might wake up one day and it's gone. But interesting enough, sleeping with it is really, really hard, because as soon as the house gets quiet, that noise in my head gets louder. Anyway, so been dealing with all of this, and I can actually talk about the car accident now because everything's over with. Double check your car insurance and make sure you have an uninsured motorist on your car insurance. Because if it wasn't for that, I would be more upside down than I am. He only had $25,000 available on his car insurance. My medical bills were over $82,000. And gotta love health insurance. My health insurance through my husband's work is $8,000 per person for the deductible. After the deductible, they only pay 70%. They put a lien against any type of settlement I would get for $20,000 that they want back. So you can see my predicament. Luckily, I had uninsured motorists on my insurance, so it didn't leave me so upside down than I already am. It at least will take care of paying the insurance, their $20,000, paying the lawyer their 30%, and paying for the physical therapist and some of the medical bills. Anyway, but it doesn't cover, of course, you know, the whole year of recovery, pain and suffering, lost income, not being able, I couldn't throw for 6 months, and then I couldn't throw anything bigger than like 1.5 pounds until I actually threw a 4-pound bowl. It's in the kiln right now, so fingers crossed on that. Anyway, just to kind of give you where I'm coming from, we need to, being a potter, you're never, there's like the 1%ers that might make it really, really big and make lots of money, but I don't think being a potter, money's not the focus. It's never been the focus for me, but there are ways to be more original, make your own tools, things that don't cost you anything other than the clay and the firing, right? And then they're yours and not anybody else's. You're not going to see your same design that I'm going to show you how to make here. It's going to be yours, and it's not going to be commercially available out there. And so it's going to make your pottery more unique, more sought after, right? So that's the thinking on my part. So that's what we're doing, is I've kind of gone through some things. I'm going to show you a couple of ways of doing this, and it's sky's the limit. I don't remember when I did it, but probably a couple of years ago. I'll see if I can find the video and link it in there where I made slabs and I pressed my flowers into them. They're actually right up there underneath the eggs. I have plans for the eggs, but because I had pneumonia, I kind of missed Easter. So if you want to see what I'm going to do with the eggs, let me know, or I'll just hold it off till next year because it'll be here before we know it. Anyway, I have slabs that have my flowers pressed into it, and I will press clay into that. And I'll take a picture, I'll find a picture of one of the mugs that I've done with it. And then I'll find the video and link it so you can see. But it's kind of along that same line, making your own original patterns, art, texture, and so forth. It goes along with making your own stamps. So like this is a bear paw stamp that I carved. These are some of the things. I love bears, of course. I'm from Alaska. So this is actually a paisley foam stamp that I stamped a whole slab with, and then I used cookie cutters to cut out the fish and then to cut out the bear. And I use those quite a bit. I've done silicone molds where I've made stamps, the reverse, or this would be the positive of the negative of the silicone. But when I can press this in so I can get the negative in the clay. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Well, here is like this rolling pin. Okay, so if I rolled it into the clay, then I get the impressions. But when I roll this into the clay, then I get this sticking up. So I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so I'm going to show you how I do some of this, and then hopefully if I get them fired in time, or I have some in the making, if I get that fish fired in time, next week we'll make something out of it and show you. But all right, let me lower you down and let's get going. So, another thing I found in my cleaning up, I knew I had these, I just, forgot I had these. These are actually tiles. I will attempt to find the link for these. I have this one and I have a bigger one. Last time I looked for the bigger one, I couldn't find it. But you know that if you've been with me, you know that I am looking at making some of my own tiles. Well, this tile, let's see if you can, is the positive. So if I press it into clay, I'm going to get the negative. Well, I like the positive better. So I am going to make myself a tree roller. And I'm going to just kind of, let's see, I'm going to give myself a little bit extra clay on this side just to make my life easier. I'll probably have to cut this down again after I roll it. So let's go ahead and put the texture. I'm going to go ahead and roll the texture in, and then we're going to turn it into a roller. So I can make as many trees as I want. I can just roll and roll and roll, right? So where with this tile, I'm kind of been limited to putting it in plates and platters and that kind of thing. But with a roller, if I make it a continuous roller, then I won't have those limitations because I don't like limitations. Want to make sure. I really want this one to work. I have plans for this one. Not only that, I love this tree. I use this one, and the big one a lot. So, oh yeah, that's pretty. Okay. Let's see, now that I've got it down, I'm actually going to bring in my ruler and I'm going to cut the edges straight. That's another thing when I make platters out of this, I get that edge thing that I have to deal with. And by making a roller, hopefully, careful. I won't have to deal with that. So a little bit of time making tools will speed up your production time when you're making whatever it is you're making. Okay, so where did I do with my, there it is. So let's go ahead, cut this side, turn it over, and then we'll just join this. You can see how this can get really addicting. So I'm only going to show you, I'm going to show you how you can use bisque, that bisque tile, to make a pattern. And then I'm going to show you how to freeform one, make your complete own design. All right, let's bring this back in so that let's see, it's too small. So this is probably too short, but well, let's do this. We are gonna just stack them. These are toilet paper rolls. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So, and what's really nice about the toilet paper rolls, they don't take up a lot of room. Like that big fish, that's gonna take up some room in the studio. But the toilet paper rolls don't. So, let's push all this together. And one thing I want to do, the background of this tree had this, I'm not going to do it on camera because I want it to stiffen up, but it has this design in the background. And so after I get this seam together and it stiffens up a little bit, I'm going to add that design into it. Right now, actually I can just smooth it a little bit, but probably gonna have to, yep. Nice thing about these toilet paper rolls too is they keep around. So this will create a little bit of work for me just because I want to blend this seam. So when I use it as a roller, there is no seam. And the nice thing about the toilet paper rolls, they're paper, so the clay doesn't stick to them. But you can also help that seam like that. Where is my metal rib? Take that line out of it. There we go. And then I probably will be able to just like, oh, okay, just kind of, I'm just thinking of connecting some of these lines, you know, just camouflage. Yeah, there's not enough room on the tile to roll it, but just kind of just give it a little bit of lines. But I'm going to work on that off camera. And then I'll just make sure that my seam on the inside is smooth too. So less chance of it opening up. I will soften my edges so there's nothing sharp. And this is super, super soft, so I'm going to put my toilet paper back in there. Oh, isn't that cool? Actually, let's pull that back out. And then I can clean up this seam. So you can see how you could do this with stencils. You could roll stencils, get your design with some stencils. You could carve something like I did that fish and have your own roller. So it's unending. It's just, you're just limited by your imagination. All right, let's go ahead and put that back in, and then I'm gonna let that set up in the round for a while, and I'll probably come back and there we go. Make sure my texture's good. But because we are filming, that's fiddly stuff that I can do later. We're going to go ahead and cut this one down to 6 inches. And then I'm going to start with a straight edge. All right. So if you say you've got a roller and you kind of want to know, mark it. And then start with that mark on the edge and roll it until you see that mark again. And then that kind of gives you an idea of how much space you need to work with to make that size of a roller, especially if you're going to do repeat patterns, you know? So let's see, what do I want to do? I really want to use this guy. So I wonder if I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, or this is obviously a front paw, not a back paw. Not everybody would know that. I know that. I could also bring in my bear and wonder, that might be kind of fun. Okay, we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna bring in my bear. I'm gonna keep it above and away from the edges. And I'm just going to push him in. And you could do this with cookie cutter, you know? But I really want to use my bear paw. There's a lot of stories about bears with my upbringing. And then we're gonna put bear paw right above him. Ooh, that's cool. Kind of want it to go a little deeper though. On this side for sure. Okay. All right. So we got a bear paw. And then I am going to do Be Wild. I'll probably just stamp that with my stamps after the fact. I wonder if I can, or if this is going to be too much. Sometimes less is more, especially if I'm going to put words on it. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. But this is going to be my own. Let's go ahead and get it up on the tube and we'll go from there. And then I might change my mind, might add some more stuff. And the nice thing about doing it on the tube is that it gives me kind of a better idea of how it might look. I mean, this could look really cool with even putting like an underglaze pattern and then rolling this in, or Who knows? Sky's the limit. I get carried away with stuff like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this guy, I'm going to bring it up. I guess I actually, doing it this way, I didn't actually have to. Okay, I'm going to show you a different way of doing this. So I'm going to roll that around. I didn't have to cut that if I didn't. And then I'm going to bring that around, kind of squish them in around the roller. And then make your 45. Cut them together. So that's another easy way to do it. A lot less measuring, a lot less thinking. Get that out of there. And then we'll go ahead and score this. With summer coming up, this could be a really popular mug. All right, and then I'm going to join this together. And since I have the tube, I can roll it on there. And since I'm also doing the tube, if I want to add texture here, I can now. I can press against it. So doing something like this actually helps your clay remember that it needs to stay round. And smooth all that in. So maybe I will add my tree. I can add it back here. Let's see. So I've got that there. What do you think? Should we go ahead and do that? Let's see. Wonder. Ooh, that's cool. That fits. This will give me a little bit more support. So I'm going to add my tree here. We'll do another one here. Just 2 trees. I like 3s. Should have done it up here. Oh, I can still do one up there. Let's see. There we go. Got our trees, and then I will smooth out the edges of that stamp. That's kind of cool. And then now I got to remind myself to have my hubby make me a 3D stamp that says Be Wild, because I'm going to put Be Wild across the top of that. All right, so let's take that out, and don't have a lot of cleanup to do when you finish them off this way. I mean, there's a little bit, but not a lot. So let's go ahead, and don't really need to worry too much about the top and bottom, but you know, old habits die hard. So hopefully I can get these dried out. If not, we will work on the ones, because I do let these dry slow, you know. So, oops, missed a spot in there. And I will leave the tubes around them for a little bit just to keep that shape. I want them to stay round. But that is going to look really cool being pressed into a mug with the bear. Oh, I just love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, that is going to be it for me today. With the world the way it is, hopefully this will help you save some pennies and think outside the box and make your own original art yourself that's just uniquely you, because we were all unique, right? All right, go get Muddy, and I'll catch you in the next one.